So the next video tutorial is Spring Inversion of Control. Write some code part 1. Inversion of Control. Some code part 1. So the first step what we are going to do is we will be copying the content from the starter file. Okay, we'll be copying the content from the starter file that will be helping us out with the XML configuration. So here I'll be going to my GitHub repository. There I'll be copying one starter file content, that is XML file content. So then we'll come back to Eclipse and we'll create one XML file. There will be put all the contents, so that will be helping us out with the XML configuration. So go to the GitHub. Let me open my web browser. So here I'm going to github.com. github.com. So you might be having your GitHub account, or if you don't have your GitHub account, that is also fine. You can just search for my repository with my username. Like here, search bar is there. Here you can just type my username, that is Vijay hyphen ky. Here you can search for all GitHub. So here what you will do is in the last option, as the last option, users are there, users option is there. So click on this users option. So now you'll be getting the users. So my username is this one, Vijay ky. So you can go to this repository, and you can find a lot of repositories here. So click on the repositories tab, and you'll be finding this repository called Vijay's Programming Spring and Hibernate Tutorial. So click on this repository link, and then now, so here one folder is there. The name is Spring and Hibernate for Beginners hyphen master. So click on this folder, go inside this folder, and come all the way down, and here yeah, here you just need to open the first folder itself, that is Spring Core 5. Okay, Spring Core 5, and you can come down all the way down inside that, and you can just open the Spring Demo iPhone 1 slash starter files. Okay, there we have this application context.xml. So you can click on this file. So here we are copying all the contents from this file. So the link will be looking like this. I'll be copying this link from the address bar to the notepad. So you can just observe, in case if you have patience to type all these things in your browser, you can follow this. Otherwise I'll be keeping this in my channel video a description section. There you can just click on this link and you will be directed to that particular file. So now, um, here, copy all the contents from this XML file. So come back to the Eclipse. So here what you'll do is select src. Select src. You don't want to choose the spring demo one or the package that is com.love2code.springdemo1. So just it is src. So you need to select the src and right click on this src, and you need to select. My system is lagging, sorry for that. So what we are doing here, it is we are copying the starter file content, that is application context or xml content. What it is does to us, it is it will be helping us out with the xml configuration. So we first need to configure our xml. So we are seeing how to configure spring using xml configuration. That is the first step. So now right click on src and you'll be getting this option. Now select new and select other option. So you'll be getting another window. So there you'll be getting a lot of options. There you have to expand the general node. Expand the general node. There you have to choose the file. Okay, then select next, and the name of the file I'm giving it is application context. The extension will be .xml. That is why because we are creating the xml file. Now whatever the name it was there in the repository, the same name I'm giving. So you can give any name, it doesn't matter. So the xml file we have created, and just click on finish to create application context.xml that will be placed under the src. Now what it is doing, this application context.xml, this file this file will be kept on our class path application context. This file will be kept on our class path application context. So now maximize this, and we have copied all the contents from the application context.xml from the github file. Now you can just press ctrl v to paste all the content from that file. So we are getting this error. So for this what you'll do is you can just delete this file itself. Now what you'll do is right click on src, new, other, and come back, come all the way down where you'll be finding the xml node. Expand that node, and you can select xml file, and click on next, and you can give the name of the file as context.xml. Context, application context, sorry, application context. You can omit the xml .xml extension, otherwise you can give it, it doesn't matter. .xml, click on finish. There we have this file. Now copy, we have already copied all the contents from the GitHub. So you just need to paste it. We have already the first header information, so you can delete later it while after we have copied all the contents. So just let me copy all the contents by using Control V. Now you can delete this. Why? Because we have already have this header information. Now you can delete this. So press Control S to save. What it does is this file will be kept this file will be kept in our class path application context. This file will be kept in our class path application context. Now the first step is configuring our beans. The first step, it is configuring our Spring Bean. So what are these things? What are these things? It is we have a lot of header information. These are called header information, and it is for XML namespaces. These are the header information for XML namespaces. So these things are required for Spring. These things are required for Spring to be able to process this file using its grammar and XML schema. So these things are required for Spring to be able to process this file using its grammar and XML schema. So now the next step is to our define our define our bean. Okay, so here we have commented it out one line like define your beans here. So create one bean tag. Okay, automatically it will be generating the ending bean tag. Now inside the first bean tag you can create two attribute. First one is called id and the second one is called class. So what we are doing it is we are configuring our Spring Beans. The first step it is to configure our Spring Bean. So ID is equal to the coach. Observe the case. M in the lowercase and C is in the uppercase, and we are not giving any spaces in between my and coach. Now that is the first attribute of this bean tag, and the second attribute what we are going to give is the class attribute. Class is equal to form dot love to code dot spring demo dot the name of the implementation class, that is track coach giving. And you can just for better readability I have done this. Now so we have configured the first step. We have configured our Spring Beans. Okay, the first attribute it is id, that is similar to like alias. Okay, that is the what our application will use. This is like a alias name. And the second attribute, that is class. Okay, it is the fully qualified class name for our implementation class, in this case track coach class. For class we have supplied fully qualified class name of our implementation class. In this case it is track coach. So it is the bean definition here. Okay, this is the uh, this much whatever it is covering the step one, that is configuring our spring bean. Okay, so save it and double click on this to get the project explorer view. Now what we are going to do is creating a new class. We are creating a new class called hello spring app. So here right click on the package com.love2code.spring demo, click on new, and you can select the class. The name of the class, it is hello spring app. Just observe the case. Hello spring. This is the name of the class. Observe the case here, important. So here I'm checking the box, that is I want to include public static void main in this class. So I'm clicking on this checkbox and I'm clicking on finish. So now we have created our class called hello spring app, and we have covered the first step, that is configuring our spring bean by setting two attributes and supplying the content like alias name and the fully qualified class name within the double quotes. Now double click on this to get the full view. So here what we are doing is just I'm writing whatever the things we will be doing in the comments. The first one, it is load the spring configuration file. Load the spring configuration configuration file. The first step, it is to load the spring configuration file, and the second thing what we are going to do is retrieve bean from the spring container. Retrieve bean from the spring container. Retrieve bean from the spring container. There is a typo. Retrieve bean from the spring container. The first thing what we are going to do is load the spring configuration file, and the second thing, it is retrieve bean from the spring container, and the third thing what we are going to do is call methods on the bean. The third thing what we are going to do is call methods on the bean. Call methods on the bean. So next we are closing the context. Okay, close the context. So these things we are going to do in this class. The first one, it is load the spring configuration file, and the second one is retrieve the bean from the spring container, and third one is call the methods on bean, and the fourth one is at the last step. As the last step, we are closing the context. So how we can achieve all these things? So here we are making use of one class called class path application context. We are creating an object for that class. Class path application context. Class path application context. Reference variable is context is equal to new class path application context. Within, while we are supplying the configuration file here in the construct. Okay, in the construct we are supplying the configuration file. So we just supply the name of the XML configuration file, that is application config.xml. Okay, in the construct we are supplying the XML configuration file, that is application context.xml semicolon. So we are getting the red mark here. Why? Because we need to import this class from appropriate package. So you can just take the mouse and hover over on this red mark, and here it is showing that create a class. We need to import actually. So why we are getting like this class path XML. Sorry, there is a mistake here. Class path XML application context. Class path XML application context. Class path XML application context. You need to be very careful while it is lengthy class name. So you should be careful while typing. There might be um, a problem of typo. um, you can now we can hover the mouse on this red mark, and you'll be seeing this option to import this class from this appropriate package, that is org.springframework.context.support. In this package this class is available. So you can just click on this option to import that package. So just press Control S. Now the red mark is gone. Now we have loaded the Spring configuration file. So in the construct, okay, in the construct we have supplied the configuration file, XML configuration file. So then we have imported the package from that appropriate uh, package. We have imported the class from that appropriate package. So next we are going to retrieve the bean from the container. How we are going to retrieve the bean from the container? So that we will see in the second step, that is coach. The coach, okay, the coach is equal to, we are making use of this reference variable context dot, I'm calling the get bean method. Okay, get bean, we are calling the, so we are calling the get bean method on this context get bean. Okay, get bean. So here we are supplying two attributes. The first one, it is the alias name, bean id what we have configured in the configuration file, that is my coach. That is the bean id I'm supplying as the first argument to this get bean method, and as the second argument to this get bean method I'm supplying uh, interface that is we don't want to give it in double quotes. Simply we can give the coach dot class, coach dot class. So here this is, so at the end of the statement you need to give the semicolon. press Control S, and this red mark will be gone. Now what is this coach dot the sorry coach? It is the interface, and the coach is the reference variable for this interface. Now I'm calling the getBean method on this context reference variable, and we are supplying two arguments. The first one is the bean ID that we have created in the configuration file, my coach. Okay, the ID we have set it to my coach, and the as the second argument I'm supplying the interface, coach interface. Okay, so we have done these things. In the second step, my coach, that's the bean ID. Okay, and coach dot class, it is the actual name of the interface for our implementation. It is the actual name of the interface for our implementation. Now we can just call the methods on this bean what we have created. The bean retrieve what we have retrieved the bean from the Spring container. So we can call the methods on this bean. How we can do that? It is just keep one SOP statement. How we can get this? That is by just typing SYSO. Sorry. Um, this and as the third step, we are calling the methods on the bean. So how we can keep the system.out.println statement? That is by just typing SYSO and press Control Enter. Will be getting the entire statement. Now you need to call the method on this bean. So the coach, the reference variable that is containing this bean. Now call this method get daily workout. Get daily workout. This is the method I'm calling. Okay, save this. We have finished our third task, that is to call the methods on the bean. Now at last, as the thing fourth task, we are closing the context. At last, context dot close. Just save it. So all these things we have done. So in this video, whatever we have done, that is we have created one configuration file, application config.xml. Then we have created one class called hello spring app, and then we have done these tasks, four tasks. That is the first one, it is load the spring configuration file and retrieve bean from the spring container, and call the methods on the bean and close the context at last. So now we can run this program, run this application. Just right click on anywhere in this hello spring app.java and run as Java application. So what will be the output we are going to get here? So we are getting an exception here. So bean definition parsing XML document from class path resource file not found exception, class path resource, application context cannot be opened because it does not exist, we are getting. So file not found exception we are getting. Okay, here typo is there, context. So we have I have made some mistake like application context t missing is there is a typo. Right click on this file and you can select here, rename is there, application context. Okay, application context .xml. Have fixed the typo. Now you can just click on OK. Now run the application once again. Double click on this to get the maximized window. Now right click anywhere on the hello spring app.java and select run as and select Java application. So now we will see what is the output, that is run a hard 5k. That is the output we are getting from the track coach implementation class of coach interface. So now we got the output. This is our first spring application that we have successfully ran. Okay, and one more thing you need to observe here, before spring 5.1 you will be getting some messages, logging messages you would be getting before spring 5.1, but after 5.1 the spring developers has removed those logging messages, and you can enable those logging messages. For that there is a way, and if you want that you can do that. There is a way for that, that I'm not going to explain it here. So we got the output. We have ran our first spring application successfully. So now the main thing we have seen in the previous video, that the requirement of an application, like the application should be configurable. Yes, our application is configurable now. We have seen that, and the second point is easily we should be able to change the coach for another sport. Okay, here we have configured this application to make use of the track coach, and we can easily make use of another sport coach. For example, here what I'll do is go to the application context.xml. Here I'll be changing this to a baseball coach. Okay, baseball coach, save it. So now come back to hello spring app and right click on this hello spring app.java in the blank space, and select run as, and you should choose a Java application, run as Java application. Now you should see the message from the baseball coach, that is spend 30 minutes in the batting practice, something like that. So select this. So here we are getting the output as spend 30-minute practice in the batting cage. So our second requirement, second condition is met here. That is, you know, we can easily change the coach to another sport. that we have achieved here. So this is all about this video, Spring Inversion of Control, write some code part 1. So thank you.